with my statement just a while ago because, like I said, it's not the norm. But Ludovic is here with me this morning, and he would like to throw light on um, the concept of having a Formula One team for Africa, um, made up of Africans in this case. Good morning to you, Ludovic, or good afternoon. I see maybe for you in Monaco, where you're at.
Yeah, good morning.
You're welcome. Good morning. All right. So, what I would love to know, first of all, and what our audience obviously would like to know, is the company that you run. And you are out of Mauritius. You coming out of Mauritius. Obviously, that's one of the far-flung islands of Africa in the Indian Ocean, I believe, out there. What gave you the idea to set up a company, and why?
Because I set the company because I was interested since my childhood in motorsports because my father was a former mechanic in automotive Formula 3. And as I was born in Monaco, and there is a famous Formula 1 Grand Prix in Monaco, I used to go with my father when I was child to assisting to the Grand Prix. But also, I used to work for the general control in the Grand Prix. And the fact is that when I started to grow and during my study, I thought about motorsport was my passion, but I never heard about really competitive or even more an African racing team. But I used to heard about maybe some South African drivers in Formula One in the 70s, or GT drivers like in the 10, 15 last years, but not about a racing team that is made by Africans for Africans and also open to international drivers. And the goal is to participate in few championships like in GT cars, prototype and single seater to represent Africa and give a positive image of people, because in Europe most of the time when you're talking about African people, they say they are migrant, they are lazy, they are this, but
Right.
they don't pick up the positive point from African people.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Those are very negative stereotypes, obviously, but like you say, those people don't look beyond their own perceptions about what they think, about Africans. So you set up this company, and you're recruiting drivers and staff from across Africa. You currently heavily involved with an effort in Kenya. Can you give us an idea of what your team, who and what are on the team right now, and what's the next competition that you guys are preparing for?
Okay, so we have people that working in Kenya in the marketing side, and we are also some people that working with me in Mauritius, like my associate in Mauritius, that working on the marketing and also the sports side, concerning the development, maybe on a future academy of MFT through Mauritius and Africa. And we've also with a driver experimented classic Formula 1 and GT drivers from Monaco. And the plan for next year is to competing in GT4, in the French championship and maybe a European one, because the championship is not really expensive, and you can improve your driver level and skills, and also there is a good exposure because people can watch the races on YouTube or in Dailymotion, and the championship is well followed by the media, and yeah, I think it's a good compromising for beginning in a full season.
Okay, all right. give us a little history. When did you start the company? What year? And what have you been involved in so far since you began?
So I started in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time it was like a kind of bait because I started to talk about that to my friends and people that I know, and they say, "You are crazy, it's impossible, you start from nothing, you have no money, no save, nothing like that, and blah blah blah." And I thought, okay, I take the bait. So I contact a friend of mine and say, why we don't put money together to make a test with a single seater? And there was an opportunity in Dijon in France with a Formula 4 car. And when we went to the track, all the people start to thought that it was my father that managed the car and all this stuff. But when they ask him, they say, no, it's my son. And when we put the car on the track, we make the lap record of the category and the speed fastest lap of the category.
Mm.
So for
Okay.
first time at maybe 20, 23 years, 23 years old for me, like it was really amazing and awesome because I knew that I am able to manage things, but driving for the first time and the first entrance, like have such result like that was really impressive for me.
Okay, all right. That's really impressive, like you say, and I applaud you for the effort and the fact that you never gave in to those who may have doubted you and doubted your intent. They always say it's a popular saying out there, a great quote which says, "You are the change that you desire. You are the change agent. Or you want to do anything in this world, you have to step up and do it. If you see something that's missing and it's not there, and you feel like it needs to be there, then you are that person." You mentioned back in the '70s there were some drivers from South Africa. Today we have drivers from various backgrounds. Where in fact we just had the recent win, Formula One win by Lewis Hamilton, who's of
Yeah,
mixed race background from the UK, and which is immense in the sense that African drivers, regardless of anything, can now look up to individuals like Lewis Hamilton as a pioneer coming out of Africa. You know, Africa is not homogeneous in the sense that it's not just blacks. We have Arabs, we have whites, we have Asians, a variety of people in Africa. But obviously, Africa is known predominantly for mostly black people. But you've taken the challenge to bring or to expand a sport that can be very expensive in a sense. We've seen the likes. Well, what I'll say is there have been some off-road car racing in Africa, you know, in Zambia, in Kenya, in places like that over the years. But this is a different situation
exactly.
when it comes to the kind of car racing that you're proposing, which is the most expensive type. Now, you know, let's not sugarcoat it. Let's talk about what you require for you to be successful, and who are those that are behind you at this stage of supporting you, and what do you expect. So let's start off with where are you in your stages of development with your team.
So now we are looking for sponsors and investors to complete our budget for the coming years because as you say it's expensive sport, but when you are calculating and you are make some rates, like maybe what it could cost like maybe I don't know 5 or 3 or 5 million euros, but when you are seeing the return in terms of image, the number of views, the impact in the medias for the sponsor, it costs nothing because like they are paying for a moment, maybe for one season, but the videos, the pictures of the car
Mm-hmm.
will be there for like 100 years old.
Yes.
Like I take an example, like you are watching a picture form of Formula car from the 60s or 70s, but the sponsor had paid in the 60s, but we are in 2018 and you still have the name of the sponsor on the picture and they still have some ad for them.
Yes. Yes, that's a great strategy, obviously, and I've always also felt that's a technique that could be transferred to other sports as well. But I mean, I guess I'm always thinking ahead of the curve, in this case. So the biggest issue, or right now, you say you guys are looking for sponsors and investors.
Yeah, because we have great opportunities like the promoters. Many promoters have started to contact me or engage the team in the championships, several championships, but we need to have the means to enter in the championship. I don't want to enter in championship to finish last, and then the people will start to say, oh, you see, there's African, they are done, they are the last of the championship. No, I want to, if I engage in championship, I want to be competitive, like to start in the top 10, and maybe why not make a podium or win a race.
Right.
We did a few months ago. We participate like at the French Cup of Slalom in single seater with a Monegasque driver, and I engage him for the race, and we start like around P10. In the second practice, we up to P5, and then at the final we finished and we won the category. So we could consider it at like maybe the first time that an African team won an international race or series, something like that. And that puts in my head that if I have more sponsor, more support from like private companies, maybe some states or something like that, that we can do something big, because we know how to work, we know which tools we need to use to make our driver progress. So
okay,
that's
all right. So you're looking, like you say, you got some competition coming up, and you're hoping to start making an impact. Well, you've identified your needs, and I hope there are people out there listening, people who own companies. Now, in specifics, let's talk specifics in terms of what you're expecting. These companies or individuals you expect who want to invest, or should they be African, or should they be anybody around the world that's just interested in motor racing?
It could be anybody, because maybe we are an African team, but as we are running in Europe and in other countries in the world, for any country, any company could be good, because like a country in the USA wanted to invest in Africa, but they are not known in Africa, or their project is not known in Africa, but going through us, like an ambassador for their product in Africa, we could be having a bigger impact for their product and their sales, because people will start to associate us to their company or to their product.
Right.
So if we use their product, they will say that it's reliable and good quality.
Okay. So what kind of cars are you racing right now? Let me go to that one right there. Specifics in terms of the engineering part of the mechanics of it. What kind of car are you guys racing right now?
This year we have racing in May. Of this year we have raced a classic Formula One.
Okay.
So it was a Formula One from the 70s, from 74. It was a 30s with a V8 of output 500 horsepower and for same kilos. So the rate is quite narrow, because the car is very powerful, and even more in Monaco, as there's barriers and the track is tight, so it's really hard to manage the car, because you can't make some errors on the mechanics, or the driver can make some faults, because if you make a fault, you finish in the barrier.
Right.
And we have work also in GD cars, like for example,